Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin. Darren and Josh make a movie.
Hey everybody, welcome to Darren and Josh Make a Movie. We're so happy to have you here for episode 2 of season 2.
We're here.
We're
We're doing the thing. I just realized I'm spilling coffee on this beautiful floor, but I got a funny story. Giorla's, which is a coffee place next to my house.
Okay.
I have a movie called Twisted, shameless plug. It's coming out in 3 weeks, I think, from right now.
Sweet.
We lost one of the singers for the soundtrack. I wanted this all-female soundtrack.
Right.
And I went to my favorite coffee place that morning, and I was talking to the barista.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, I'm in a band. And I was like, I just lost a female singer. And she's like, I'm a female solo artist. Her name is Sylvia. I'll put her Instagram up here. You should follow her. And I was like, send me your music, and I'll see if it works.
No way.
Not only did I put one of her songs in the movie, or three of her songs made the movie, and one of them is like the main scene of the movie. And she was just, she was a barista.
I love it.
She's great. She's great. So
that's amazing, man.
I'm very
What kind of
excited.
music is it?
I don't know, and I don't want to say something that
The
fits her.
wrong way of framing it.
Yeah, she's a solo artist. It's hypnotic, cool. I don't know how to describe it.
I can't wait. I'm gonna check it out. I'll
yeah.
check out that Insta.
Please
link.
do. So much, and it feels so quickly. This thing, you sent me pages, and it was so exciting to read.
Yeah.
All this for 5 months now. We've been talking about this thing, and actually be able to sit and read it. Not only was that exciting, but then when you get to the twist, I just get chills, and I'm like, it's so hard to stick a good ending on a movie, and if the ending doesn't work, and when I get to the ending, and I'm like, yeah.
And half the times we start movies, we don't even know what the ending is.
I don't know how many times that we were working on a Saw film or shooting a Saw film, and we didn't have the ending of the movie.
I still can't believe that Saw 2, the safe was not in the first draft.
No, Your Son Is in a Safe Place was not in the original thing.
I mean, it's insane. And it actually came during the film?
I believe it was during the film. We kept just trying to find different ways to make the twist hit harder. And I think the more Saw movies we made, we started to realize that the community was smarter than we were, and they were guessing the twist ending, so they would shift and alter. We'd be like, fuck, they've already guessed that. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did anything change in Spiral, or was it always the same?
It was always the same. All the kills,
With that said, wait, we were a week away from shooting, and they still had not approved the idea of the marionette puppet with Sam Jackson. That was something we had to keep fighting for until the very end.
Yeah, that was a beautiful coming together of director, writer, production designer, thematic elements. I mean, everything just came together.
That I commissioned Mr. Snuggles myself before they approved it, and I fronted the cost for it because we didn't have time to wait for them. And I was like, I've got to get this thing in the movie.
Yeah.
A funny story. About 2 years after the movie comes out, I get a very angry phone call from one of the producers who will remain unnamed.
Right.
And he goes, Darren, what the fuck is Mr. Snuggles? What is that name? Who thought of that name? And I guess Trick or Treat Studios, or one of them, had licensed it and were making Mr. Snuggles dolls, and it was sent to the producer's house, and he sees the name Mr. Snuggles on it. And I was like, if I'm known for nothing else in the Saw franchise than pissing off the producers with a Mr. Snuggles doll.
Well, the original guy's name was Billy. That's such a silly little boy's name.
I know. I think Mr. Snuggles, though, just was not... But it made me happy.
But in neither movie, you never saw Billy in any of the films.
Do you know what I found? I've always said this, of all the movies that there is a different edit of, Spiral is a much different edit. My version, original version, it was called Organ Donor originally.
Yeah.
And there was a huge scene in the middle of the movie where they are discussing the name Organ Donor, and I found that deleted scene on my desktop. I should leak it. I should just put it up there.
I like that scene.
All this talking about Spiral, one of the kind of godfathers to Josh and I, Mr. Mark Burg, he gave me my first job. I was 25 or 24 years old. He purchased my script, The Desperate, and turned it into Saw 2, and then made Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 4, Repo the Genetic Opera, Spiral, this movie Twisted that comes out. And we've talked about him quite a bit on the show. It was, for me, we had to take the movie to him first, out of respect for him, what he's done for both of our careers. But he's also the single most intimidating and scary person.
He really is. He feels like you're swimming with a shark.
He is, and I don't know if it's necessarily intentional on his part.
No.
Because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be on a set and have him mad at you, which I've been. I don't think
There hasn't been a set you've been on that he hasn't been mad at you.
I've been fired on every movie except Repo, and I don't think he couldn't fire me on Repo. But on Saw 2, 3, and 4, and Spiral, I was fired 5 times on Spiral.
Yeah.
So sitting there in Casa de Berg is always, and when you walk in, as you're going to see in it's a few minutes, there is a shrine to Saw.
Yeah.
And it is, he's got this opulent, huge room. And we should have gone over the photos because he's got photos with everyone in the world on this wall. And he kind of sits there like the Godfather. He goes, tell me. But we kind of went in half-cocked a little bit. And that's my fault a little bit because I was like, Josh, we're going to pitch Mark. But I just felt that
you need to give me a little more time to prep.
The thing though, I think for me, it also helped me because Mark did open up, as you'll see, some things that we hadn't thought about.
Yeah.
And Mark,
like plot.
Yeah, like we didn't have a plot.
That can throw you off.
It can throw you off a little bit. Mark has a crazy career and a crazy journey, and so I'm excited for everyone to hear our first attempt at a pitch, and we'll be going back very soon for round 2 with Mark Burg.
Yes.
And you can see how the pitch has progressed from round 1 to round 2.
Hey, you didn't say anything about my shirt.
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Huh? Come on.
Who made that?
Shay, one of our team members, Shay. She was amazing. It's all original.
Can I see her? So you got, I see the Billy doll. Oh, Zytre gun. I never saw that.
Yeah.
The devil.
We got
Spiral.
Piranha eating the
from Good Luck Chuck.
Yeah.
I don't see 11. Maybe that's 1111 with the
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's hypodermic needles. The brain. Oh, dude, look at that. You got the bucket.
Fucking cool as hell, man.
It really is pretty cool. Why do you get the cool shit and I don't?
Well, because I ordered them in advance just to test it out. So this is the test shirt. But I'll get you one. I'm gonna get everybody one.
We need to release merch.
Yeah.
My mom has really been asking. I think that we're making an audience. We're gonna make an audience.
We're gonna send your mom a gut pillow and a Darren and Josh Make a Movie T-shirt.
Yeah, it's not really a lot more lead than we need to do outside of going into pitch any movie is you can read a person in a room. And a lot of times you have to adapt a pitch based on the person's reactions and facial reactions. Mark is kind of like a stone statue. He terrifies me because I can't read Mark Burg. He's one of those people that I can't read.
Yeah.
So sitting with him is always a little bit intimidating. And we invite you into the room with us and you can hear the pitch firsthand.
And don't judge it too harshly just yet.
I literally called Josh the day before and I was like, hey, we're going to go pitch Mark. And he goes, we don't have an idea yet. And I was like, we're pitching him. Here you go. Hey, everyone. We are sitting here at Casa de Berg. Mark Burg is somewhat of a legend on this podcast. The first 5 episodes, you and I both just told stories about Mark Burg. And Mark, but the best was Mark. I got to find it and I'll try to put it up here. I used AI and had you, like I animated your picture. So every time we talk to you, it would be like you like smiling and giving a thumbs up. And but now we have the real Mark Burg. So we can get, we don't have to use AI anymore. Mark, thanks for being here. We are here for a very specific reason. But before we get to that, I was 24 years old when Mark Burg and his company Evolution/Twisted Pictures hired me. But Mark, you've been making movies and being an executive a long time before that. I keep finding out that movies that I were inspired by, Mark was either an executive on, involved. The first one that hit me was Sandlot. Like I remember I was showing my son Sandlot. Like, you know what? This is a classic. It is. We just showed it. I love that movie. It's an amazing film, and I mean, James Earl Jones. I mean, the whole thing about it is great. Where was that? What company was that? Artist?
That was Island Pictures. I think it was under the name Island World.
What was your break-in? Like, what was your break-in story? You come out to Hollywood, or I
came out to LA, got hired to run Universal Classics.
Okay.
There's a classics division. I was distributing Brazilian movies out of school. This little company hired me called Unifilm. They had a Bye Bye Brazil. We had a movie called Dona Flor and Her Two Husbands. They're all really great movies.
Yeah.
Then we did a picture called Pichote that Hector Babenco directed. Won every award possible. Must have been 1982.
All right.
And it was great. And the guy named Bob Ramey called me up, or his assistant called me up. Bob was president of Universal Pictures, saying he wanted to see the movie on Saturday. And I'm like, I had 9 prints of the movie, and you would like courier them from like Boston to Philadelphia to Cincinnati to wherever, you know, you were, but there were only 9 prints.
Yeah.
And they were all on screens. And I'm like, I'm not taking a print off. And I remember thinking to myself, wait a second, I sent this guy a resume when I was in college and he never even responded. So I was like, no, you can't see the movie. Fuck you. I told his assistant. And she was like, well, no, Bob needs to see it. He's thinking of hiring the director. He wants to see it. And I was like, not going to happen. Sorry. And they didn't understand that. And then I was like, I had this idea. I was like, if you take me out for dinner, I'll bring the movie to California and I'll show it to you. And like an hour later, and I didn't want to tell them this, I was coming out the following week anyways to screen it for this guy, Bob Lemley, who had Lemley Theaters.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he had the Royal, he had Music Hall, he had Fine Arts, I think, in Beverly Hills. There was one in Pasadena. And so I was coming out anyways. And then an hour later, this guy, Bob Ramey, calls me himself and goes, I understand that if I take you out for dinner, you'll show me the movie. He was like, who are you? And I was like, I don't even know where this idea came from. I was like, yeah, I mean, it could be lunch if you really, you know, need to.
Right.
And he did.
That's why.
And he hired me to be head of sales for this little division they were starting called Universal Classics. And so we did Franco Zeffirelli's La Traviata. I did a Merchant Ivory movie called Heat and Dust. Then they put me in charge of the re-release of 5 Hitchcock pictures: Rear Window, Vertigo, Rope, Trouble with Harry, and The Man Who Knew Too Much. It was awesome.
That's amazing.
We asked the most important question.
And then Bob got fired, and an hour later I got fired because the guy between us, Frank Price came in, and Frank was like, Classics Division, I don't want this shit.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I was unemployed.
I just want to know when Pump Up the Volume happened, because have you seen that movie? That's what I'm like.
You didn't do Pump Up the Volume, did you? Really?
I developed the script, put it together, cast Christian Slater in it. He was a buddy. I was friends
Dude,
with
that
his
was
mom.
like Samantha Mathis?
I know.
Samantha Mathis,
Holy.
Christian Slater. Island Pictures had the song. I gave them the song. It was kind of
That to me, and I don't even think, last time I checked, like 2 years ago, you couldn't find it. It was not available on streaming at that point. It was only standard def.
Oh,
and
I had the DVD. So.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking loved that movie.
it was a heartbreak because ultimately Island didn't have the money to make it. I couldn't tell them that, but I put it all together, and then the last minute, like, the rug got pulled out from me. That happened twice in my career. Once was Pump Up the Volume. Second time was Dances with Wolves.
Wait, what's the Dance of Wolves story?
I owned the script for a year.
And you were trying to get it.
And I went to Island Pictures. No, Kevin was attached. Kevin gave it to me. It was after Bull Durham, and we were really good friends. And he's like, produce this movie with me. And I left Tom Mount at a company called the Mountain Company. Tom was at one point head of president of production at Universal.
Right.
After Frank Price came in and fired Bob Ramey, he then fired Tom Mount. And then I was like 2 days later.
A Kevin Costner story. We're on the set of Saw 4, and Mark's phone rings, and I'm directing. Like, I'm in front of the monitor. No, I'm standing right next to him. Hold on. Darren, it's Kevin Costner. And I'm like, I'm shooting. And he's like, it's Saw 4 that shoots itself, Darren. Talk to Kevin Costner. And I ended up getting on a phone call with Kevin Costner for about an hour in the middle of shooting, because Kevin had just read Repo the Genetic Opera, and Kevin has a band. And he's friends with Kevin Costner. And I'm geeking out. I'm like, I'm talking to Kevin Costner while on the set of Repo, or right on the set of Saw 4, about Repo. And it never ended up happening, but Kevin was a fan, and he was a fan of Mark. And he's like, you know, Mark said great things, and I love this fucking script. And
oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And Darren decided to hire Anthony Head instead.
no, but you know, we had, and you, and he go, I go, Mark, I got great news. Said yes. You're like, no, that's a no. I'll beep that out. So I'm not using it.
Holy.
And then we had Patrick Swayze, who we all liked. And then Patrick Swayze came down with, I think, pancreatic cancer. Yeah. And then right when we were recording the album. So then we were left with very little time, and we put Anthony Stewart Head in. But different movie with Kevin Costner.
Okay, so we can't go through your entire resume, but just tell us your favorite 3 films that you worked on, whether it's you were and you can't mention any Saw movies. Not that you would, but you can't mention
I probably
any
will.
Saw.
Saw 2 were 2 of my favorites.
Yeah.
Can't Buy Me Love because it's your first.
Yeah.
So you kind of gotta love,
Yeah.
Bull Durham was a lot of fun to make because like we're hanging out playing baseball, and I'm sitting at a bar going over the script with Kevin and Robert Wall, like the week before we started filming, and we're in this bar. The name of the bar is in Chapel Hill called He's Not Here. Right. And all of a sudden we're sitting and we're going back and there's 3 of us and there's a 4th chair. And all of a sudden some guy puts his hand on my shoulder and can I join you guys? And my immediate reaction is, who the fuck are you? Like, no, you can't. Like, we're.
Yeah.
And I look up and it was Michael Jordan.
Oh shit!
And I was like, yes.
Yes, you may have a seat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Never seen him since, but we spent like 2 hours that night hanging out.
Who was the guy you had on set on Spiral? Who was the you had
The NBA player.
yeah, on Spiral it came out. All of us got our
Oh yeah, it was.
It was up the dome.
Isaiah
Have
Thomas.
it-
Yeah, that was awesome.
So okay, well you've listed 2, Bull Durham.
And I will. And before you go on from Bull Durham, that is, I think, the greatest baseball movie ever made. I don't think. I mean, honestly, I don't think
Sandlot.
Sandlot is amazing, but Bull Durham is
Bull
literally
Durham is more baseball. Sandlot's a kid's movie.
Yeah.
So I also love Field of Dreams. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Field of Dreams is great.
I'm not a hater.
Yeah, I hear you.
I like any baseball movie. I probably pretty much like.
Yeah.
And I still want to do one more.
Tell me about the monologue, the kiss monologue in Bull Durham. Was that in the original script?
That was in the original
Written out
script,
just like that.
word for word. I will tell you the only movie I've ever produced where a writer turned in the script and we shot it was Bull Durham.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, Ron Shelton turned in the script, he directed it, and I worked for this guy, Tom Mountain, who was the main producer, and he was like, all righty, I'm going to go get Kurt Russell, Harrison Ford, and maybe it was Mel Gibson or something like that.
Yeah.
And if we get any one of these guys, we're going to make the movie. And his wife said something like, oh, I can get the script to, I forgot who she was going to. They've long since divorced. And I was like, well, I can get it to Kevin Costner because I knew Kevin because at the time I was also producing music videos. And Kevin was the stage manager at Raleigh Studios.
So crazy.
That is nuts.
And then the day No Way Out opened,
Right.
2 movies opened it was actually August 14th, 1987. Number 1 movie was No Way Out. Number 2 movie was Bull Durham. And everybody had passed on Bull Durham. Everybody. And this guy from Orion called me up, Bill Bernstein from New York, Orion, not Mike Metaboy, who was running Orion LA.
Right.
And Mike had passed on the script, in all honesty. Well, he tells everybody he made the movie. He passed on it. The Monday No Way Out opened, this guy called me and he was like, how much can you make the movie for? And I was like, $8 million. And he goes, with Kevin? And I was like, yeah. And we didn't have the female yet. We didn't have Susan Sarandon.
Right.
And he was like, okay, movie's greenlit, go. And literally from that Monday, which would have been like August 17th, 6 weeks later, we were shooting the movie in Durham, North Carolina.
That's insane, man.
It was a race.
Insane.
So that's 2. We have 2 of his movies. What's the 3rd?
I don't know. I liked a lot of them, I mean, probably they're like your kids.
We're gonna say Saw 2. We're just gonna leave it at Saw 2.
Could be, but no, he said none of the Saw movies. I already told you I like Saw 1 and Saw 2.
Did you do Money Talks? Was that you?
No. What was one of the movies I really was fun to produce? I did this movie with the Wayans brothers. Oh, Don't Be a Menace to South Central. I bring in your juice. It was a blast.
Awesome. That's fun. That's really fun.
So
that's really, really
And then they would parody you.
Sandlot was a pain in the ass because the kids were great, but now you're dealing with like 9 moms,
Yeah.
Everybody wanting like their kid to get more lines. And
Yeah.
I think everyone in the podcast wants to know this bit, and then we're going to jump into something completely different. Pre-Saw, post-Saw. Did you see a career for yourself doing horror? Because you started off doing, you started off doing completely the opposite end of it,
No, I didn't want to do horror.
and then saw.
No desire to do horror. I mean, I was making movies. I made a ton of urban movies. Nothing that, I did, John Q. There were a bunch of movies. Arn and myself were friends with a man by the name of Paul Hertzberg. Paul had a company called Cinetel, and he had made like 140, I think, 120 low budget $1 million movies. And we were like, we and Arn and myself had done John Q. And we made the movie for $28 million. It grosses $100 million, and you get your first producer statement. And we're like, we're finally going to make some money. And it took me 7 years to get the movie made. And you get your first statement, and New Line's telling us how they lost $40 million on the movie. And you're like, fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah.
I had no money. I was broke, living in an apartment on Ventura Boulevard, right next door to McDonald's. My entire apartment smelled like French fries. And, I had a newborn kid. I had no money. I was divorced. My dad was dying. And I was like, all right, fuck this. Time to sell real estate or do something. And we decided that we were going to okay, let's go make $1 million movies. And we were going to make a bunch of them. And maybe we'd get 10, 20 movies and we'd sell them for a couple $1 million, like the library for a couple $1 million bucks. And that was my exit strategy. And the first $1 million movie we made happened to be Saw.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I can remember sitting in his original house. You had like a weird fireplace, and I remember sitting there, and I don't know if it was in prep for Saw 2, but it was like once.
It was in Sherman.
Yeah, that was right.
On Sutton, the corner of Sutton and Noble.
But I remember sitting there, and everyone was realizing how big Saw was going to become, and it was like watching history being made, because that was early days. And then I would just remember you sitting there, and you'd be like looking at a piece of paper, and you'd be like, damn.
Crazy.
Wait, same week Saw opened? It was the same week in 2004. 2.5 Men premiered on Monday, and Saw opened on Friday.
And tell everybody why 2.5 Men is interesting in this conversation.
It's interesting because I managed Charlie Sheen.
And you were a producer
At the time. I was an exec producer on the show, and we begged Charlie to be the guy in Saw 1, and he wouldn't do it.
Holy shit.
He was our first choice.
Yeah.
Second choice was Greg Kinnear,
Right.
who wanted to do it, but then ultimately passed.
Right.
And we managed Cary Elwes. So we put Cary Elwes in. We managed Danny Glover, which is how he got into the movie.
Yeah.
We were friends with David Gawad, who I think was Monica Potter's agent, and he said she would do it, or he got her to do it. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So our podcast part of this portion tonight is for a lot of emerging filmmakers to kind of learn, because our show takes people from the inception of the movie all the way through to the red carpet. That's the plan of our show. But there are a lot of people that are listening that are emerging producers that want to be a producer. What do you think made you so successful over the last 30 years?
A lot of luck.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
Perseverance, don't give up.
Yeah.
And you just got to read and keep reading.
Yeah.
Because eventually you'll find, Can't Buy Me Love got made. It was a fluke. I loved the script, couldn't get it made. And Michael Swerdlick's agent sent it to somebody as a writing sample. And this guy said, this script's really good. Like, who owns this? I think I had optioned it because he was a buddy for $2 for a year.
Right.
Literally, I think it might have been $3. I don't think it was $5.
Right.
And that's how the movie got made. And the guy is like, well, I'll make this movie. This is a really good writing sample. But why don't we just make it?
Yeah.
And then we made it and then sold it to Disney ultimately in the end.
One of the things that I love, and I'm only seeing this right now for the first time, is how calm and relaxed and in control you are. And I feel like that's the way you are on a set too. And
unless it's a Darren Bousman movie, then I'm pulling my hair out because he spent 6 hours working on a master. And now we have to do 30 setups in the next 6 hours.
There it comes. Here it comes.
So, Mark, I don't know if you remember this, but maybe it was Saw 3 into Saw 4, you and I went and took a meeting, and we were with Stallone in his office, and I remember that he had like uh, a Rocky thing made out of bullets sitting on one side, and he had a statue of Rambo's on one side, Rocky's on the other, and you and I are sitting in there, and he gets a phone call. I don't know if you remember this or not, but the phone call was Lionsgate, and we had gone to him for a movie that you were going to produce that I found called Last of the Independents, and it was like a kind of modern day Western, and he wanted to get Kurt Russell. And so he loved the script, and he's like, wouldn't it be cool if we reteamed, like a Tango and Cash, but it's like in the Western setting? And I remember we were sitting in his office, he's on the phone, I can't do his accent. Or saying, oh, that's great. That's right. And then he hangs up and he goes, I got good news and bad news. The good news for me is I just got Expendables greenlit. The bad news is I can't do your guys' movie. And I
actually remember that.
Yeah, I was crushed. But I remember I was like, what's Expendables? And he was like, it's very simple. Premise is very simple. Every action star that you grew up with is blowing shit up in this movie. I was like, I got it. I fucking loved it. I remember he showed us the script cover. He was like this, and the script cover was like the logo of what Expendables was. That's going to come back to what we're about to talk to you about. So part of the podcast is we had guaranteed very early on that we were going to show warts and all of the filmmaking process, and that is successes and failures and everything in between. And one of the things that we talked about is we're going to let people see a peek behind the curtains in the pitch process, because not a lot of people see that. They hear about it. You were the first person that we're talking to about this idea. Josh and I haven't figured it out completely, to be very honest with you. This is it's a unique one, and I think it is a diamond. But it is unlike any movie that I've ever brought to you, or I think, Josh, any movie you've been attached to, because of how it has to come together. And the premise, what we started back and forth, is Josh and I said, let's make a movie at a reasonable price that is something different, that is unique, that will be easy for us to get off the ground, and that can use the resources we have at our disposal. Don't go make something we know we can never do. What do we have with us right now that we can make? And so we pitched each other ideas back and forth. And one of the ideas that came around
over the course of the show, we've pitched each other during the show 10 ideas each. And we kind of locked into 2 different ones that we're kind of pursuing simultaneously. One we want to put together as a put together the project, and one we're going to write on spec and then try to take it out to the town. But this is the one that we're trying to figure out. And the ask for you might not be, hey, will you come aboard? It might be, hey, can you help us figure out what the right way to put this project together is based on your experiences?
There's a million ways that we can go into this, but I'm going to start here. And this is something we just worked on today to kind of give it a little flavor and flair to you. But I recently went to Orlando, Florida. And in Orlando, I went to a con. And you know about these, where people go and celebrities show up and they sign autographs. And this is the 4th or 5th one that I've done. And it's such a culture shock, because it's like Comic-Con, but it's much more specific, where Comic-Con is Marvel and DC and all this other stuff,
And games and just any
pop culture.
Yeah.
These are horror, and there's one every weekend, and you get a group of people that tour every weekend, and they're the same people that go to these cons. And it was pretty shocking for me, because I'm sitting there, and on one side of me is Cassandra Peterson, Elvira. On the other side of me is Method Man. And then, what's the guy's name? Nicholas Hoult. It was such a mishmash of...
Method Man do a horror movie?
He's done a couple horror movies. His first movie he did was a horror movie, but it was pretty shocking. So the idea that I pitched Josh, that I thought would be really interesting, is I want to do the Expendables of horror. The idea came about that Josh and I were, what are the resources that we have that we know we can exploit? And we started talking, and the thing that I found hilarious, to me, is when you go to a convention like this, it's not who you think is going to be popular is popular. It's someone you don't expect. An example, these cons aren't cheap. So to get an autograph signed, someone might come up and pay me $50 to sign an 8x10. But if they want a DVD, it's $100. If they want a poster, it's something else. And you see some people have lines. Cassandra Peterson, Elvira, she had a line. Method Man had a line. But you look at David Howard Thornton.
No line for you, Darren?
What's that? No, I had like 4 people. We made it, we edited it together. It edited together like I had a line, but it was literally like us, it was us getting Cassandra Peterson's line.
Yeah, like.
But
like David
Short,
the star of the new Terrifier movie.
if I went to anyone and I said, I'm going to put David Howard Thornton in my movie, they would say, what the fuck does that matter? That doesn't mean anything to us. But in a Terrifier movie, David Howard Thornton is king. At this convention, he had a line.
Wow.
Is he the main guy in there?
He's the clown.
That's what's crazy is I was talking to my, you have booking agents that go there. And I was looking at David's line, and David's line went all the way through the convention center, down outside and wrapped around the building. Each one of those people are paying a minimum of $130 for David Howard's autograph. You want a picture, it's more. And he goes, he'll clear $90,000 this weekend. And I'm like, if I'm going to pay David Howard to be in a movie, it's most likely a Schedule F kind of thing. And I'm like, but they're like, here he is God. He does this every single weekend. So he makes more money not doing a movie than he does doing a movie. And it's a fascinating culture. So it got me thinking about
What he needs to keep doing movies to stay relevant.
That's it. You have to. That's it. Okay. So I'm going to tell you some things you probably know, but read that number out loud, Mark. Can you read that number?
Your finger's in the way, Darren.
1 billion.
1,100,000,000.
What number is that? That would be the number that the Saw franchise is supposedly cumulatively made. Now let's
At the box office.
At the box office.
Down
No,
the
wait,
other
wait.
And that's like not, that's just the box office.
No, wait, I say that. So hold on. Don't get ahead of yourselves, assholes. Okay, that one. 885 million, Halloween franchise. Let's go to the next one. 490 million, Nightmare on Elm Street. 468, Friday the 13th. Let's go down again. 300 million, Hellraiser. And that's only theatrical box office. No home video, no streaming, no licensing,
No games, no anything. Yeah.
Okay. These icons don't disappear. They get rediscovered. Jason, Michael Myers, Hellraiser, Pinhead, Jigsaw, they go to a con and they are fucking swarmed. You would think that they are a Beatle. When they walk in, you have Paul McCartney, they are swarmed. And these people are older. These are not young people. They are older people that are swarmed. And they do these cons every single weekend. And that's how a lot of them survive doing these cons. But they are responsible for the biggest, baddest, craziest franchises of horror history. So then I thought, with Josh and I, what if we made a movie that was our version of The Expendables set in the horror world, but everyone plays themselves? We're not playing that Robert Englund is going to go play whatever. Robert Englund plays Robert Englund. Kane Hodder, who is Jason, plays Kane Hodder. Tobin Bell plays Tobin Bell. An idea came about of taking a movie and a trope like 10 Little Indians. Well, why don't you want to?
Yeah, like the 10 Little Indians, and you look at Knives Out, those kinds of films. Mm-hmm. We create, because after the phone call, we had a very, very quick conversation with you, and we took your note, and we were like, all right, yeah, Mark makes a really, really good point here. In our mind, we were like, all right, we're just going to shoot it on the floor and, put up signs. If you're standing here, you're in the movie thing. And you can do that for part of your film. But we were thinking, Knives Out, let's do a 10 Little Indians, take the top 10 actors in this world. They're playing themselves. They all arrive at some kind of a exclusive mansion or something. We were thinking about maybe starting it in the con. Yeah, please.
So, start off with Danielle Harris. So who is she? Danielle Harris is, she's known for the original Halloween franchise, the OG Halloween franchise, and they brought her back on the remakes. She goes to these.
She was in Hatchet. She was in a remake of Halloween with Rob Zombie. She's been in everything.
She does these things, and she goes, she might do 2 a month. Starts off with her. We see what the con life is like. We see her signing autographs. We see an awkward fan encounter where someone asks something very inappropriate, and she looks up at her manager and she's like, please tell me this is it. And they're like, no, you're going to New England next weekend for this other con. So we start to meet some of these players, and we set it up in a very quick interstitial. Bill Moseley, Daniela Harris, Tobin Bell, or Shawnee, all signing these things. They're all invited to a first-year con in some New England town. And it's year one. And then let's just call it Icons of Horror, the Icons of Horror Con. And we now follow them, cutting between these 4 people as they get in their cars, they get their 8x10s ready. It's very mundane stuff, get change for their tills. And we see them driving in, getting in an airplane, And you start to see some funny moments between them where Danielle Harris, for example, she's not flown first class. They put her in the back of the plane, but she passes another girl, a final girl, that's in the first class. You start to see there's some kind of rivalries as they're getting in there. They arrive and this town is in the middle of nowhere, and we're following them as they're going off weird turns, and they get to this hotel. And when they get to the hotel, there is a package waiting for them. You were cordially invited to the opening night dinner. Please dress in nice attire. A car will be outside waiting to pick you up at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, car starts picking them up, and they arrive at our location, our mansion. This is where our story begins.
Very Bachelor-esque right now.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, no, totally.
Did you ever get the Bachelor Mansion, Darren? We bring everybody there.
Another way in, which I'm only going to bring up because Robert brought it up, Robert Englund, who we talked to last week and is excited about the project. One of the ideas he had, which I thought was really interesting, was at the con, somebody comes and like delivers like the invitation. You know, it's like the game where it's like kind of, you don't really quite know what it is and what's going on. But his thought was each of these actors brings their iconic villainy thing. So Michael Myers has the steak
That's
knife.
what I was gonna.
Texas Chainsaw has the like they all. So we get all of those weapons in place that we're going to be able to use in the movie for the kills. They think they're bringing them for this big auction for a big huge charity or something like that. That's another way into the story. That's a little less.
So
vastly.
Skipping past all of the exposition, you have 10 of the most famous, both old and new, horror icons that arrive at a mansion and the death begins to occur. And what Josh and I want to do is take every trope that people expect in a Clue / Knives Out / 10 Little Indians movie and completely do a right turn on them in the same way that movie, and I'm sure you've seen it, called Cabin in the Woods. It basically takes every single cliche and turns it. Imagine us watching Robert Englund, who is 78 years old, having to defend himself against some masked intruder. He's not he's Freddy Krueger, he's Robert Englund. Tobin Bell is frail. I mean, he looks good, but he's not fucking John Kramer. We get to watch the most badass fucking killers.
Badass Geriatric Society?
No, they're not all geriatrics, and that's what we're going to go through.
Yeah.
Some of them are, mainly Robert Englund and Tobin Bell. Those are two older people. But we are watching the icons of horror battle for their lives and die in the most gruesome, brutal, hilarious ways. But, and this is the thing which is a big but, this movie is very much an homage full of Easter eggs for horror fans of every one of those franchises. Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw, all of that.
So obviously we're not going to be able to have a Billy puppet in a movie, but we could have elements, and you're allowed to talk about films. Like Tobin's allowed.
Maybe we can.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Here's I'm just gonna interject just quick thoughts. Hey Reed, come here a second. Google real quick. How many actors were in the first Expendables? You don't want to have 10 actors. You can't tell 10 stories.
That's why
can't afford to pay 10
4 of them
people.
die in the first 5 minutes.
Robert Englund might die in the first couple.
I think you want 5. Like if you look at this poster you're showing me, there's 1, 2. I think it's like
6.
Who are the 6 main?
Stallone, Statham, Lee, Lundgren,
Ralph Lundgren.
Couture, and Cruz.
Terry Crews.
In Sorting, actors like Mickey Rourke,
So they all die.
No, Schwarzenegger wasn't in the first one. I don't believe. So basically, I think he won 5, 6.
But imagine this, and this is where it kind of broke open for us, where we got really excited. Robert Englund started telling us hilarious stories. And he started telling us things that we weren't thinking about because we envisioned it originally as kind of scary and violent and vicious. And then he started like giving us these like in-jokes that were like, oh my God, that would be fucking hilarious. Until 2 nights ago, I called Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker is in my favorite horror film of all time called Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. He tells me a story and he goes, did I ever tell you the story about when Rook, he talks about himself in third, I tell you a story about when Rook went to James Gunn's house and got sprayed by a skunk? I'm like, no. And he goes, one of the Guardians had just come out. There was a party at James Gunn's house. It's a murder mystery party. Rook knows it. He sees them inside playing it, so he thinks he's going to scare him. So he walks into the bushes and he looks in, and then all of a sudden he hears something and he smells it and he stepped on a skunk. And he said, so when he stepped in the bush, he steps on the skunk and he screams really loud. Everyone inside's like, what the fuck? Rooker gets sprayed and it takes him a moment. So he's like, what the fuck? And he's sprayed again because there's a whole family of skunks. He runs out and runs in James Gunn's place. James Gunn's like, what the fuck? It stinks. And Rooker is running and everyone's running. And then Rook said, he goes, I carry guns with me. He's like, I pack. And he was like, I'm going to kill that motherfucking skunk. And so he pulls out his gun and he runs back outside. Now James like, put the gun down. You cannot shoot a fucking skunk. And he was like, then we started thinking, what if there is, when you go to these cons, they are so ridiculous where you'll have Gary Busey or you'll have Michael Rooker, and then you'll have these serious thespian actors. You have amazing comedy relief for someone like you have Rooker there, who is an exaggerated version of himself, who gets invited to this thing. And on the first death, he pulls out his gun. Now, all of a sudden, Rooker's a liability, and he accidentally kills Linda Blair on accident. He shoots Linda Blair in the face. So we think Linda Blair is going to be the lead. She comes out, and she's like, listen, everyone, we got a boom. Rooker, you blew her fucking head off. So these people that are in here, we are watching them, exaggerated versions of themselves.
And everyone we've talked to is open to that in the same way that they do on the studio.
I don't think you want to make the movie a cartoon.
No, it is.
And the kill
what
scenes
you
are
just
kill
pitched
scenes.
me is
Well,
cartoonish.
Yes, I agree. Tonally, I don't know if you've seen any of the Knives Out movies, but they're all extremely funny, but also very serious and have an emotionally charged. I don't know if you saw the new one, but it's very emotional.
It's funny. We're gonna watch it yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
But and the kill scenes, they're gonna be we want to make the horror fans happy.
Happy.
So yeah.
I think you want to make a horror movie with a little bit of comic relief here and there
This
to just
I
ease the
understand that.
tension.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
think you want to make this a
Yes.
comedy
Yes.
that has some horror scene
Yeah,
in it.
There is this is a love letter to horror franchises. And we have gone through and we have spoken to all of these people that have Michael Rooker from Bill Moseley, Warwick Davis, the Leprechaun series, Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, obviously John Kramer, Hellraiser, Friday the 13th. And each one of these people, these are the final girls. Lauren Lavera, Linda Blair, Barbara Crampton, Lynn Shay, Danielle Harris, Shawnee Smith. And each one of these people go to a con every weekend, every one of them. And they are surrounded by these adoring fans that freak the fuck out. This, to me, is what I wanted to do with that movie I sent you, The Witch, which is I want to make something that is disruptive and that is tailored to the fan base who loves franchise horror.
And just scroll through those. I mean, if you see, I know you were saying, we made the joke earlier about geriatric. Their fan base, young and hot. I mean, everybody at these cons, they're everywhere from 5 years old to 80 years old, but the majority of them, the majority of true horror lovers that find these characters irresistible, they're young people that are just get so excited. And again, like Darren was saying, these people mean very little if we were making a romantic comedy set in Ireland. They mean a hell of a lot if they're playing themselves, playing character and acknowledging all of these incredible horror films over the course of the years.
Now, what makes this exciting and challenging is we have spent the last 2 months going to the mall, sitting down with them all, picking their brains and finding out how realistic it is. We have not had a single person thus far that we've gone to not immediately be like, I'm in, let's do this. We want to write the script for these people, and what we want to do is Easter egg the fuck out of the movie to bring in their fan bases. So in the same way that Saw has a diehard community, so does Hellraiser, so does Leprechaun, so does Nightmare on Elm Street. We want to sit down and have a 4-hour conversation to find out what are the 5 most in Easter eggs for this franchise, and they're addressed in our movie. So this movie is a love letter. It is a high five experience when you see it. And I think that it's a movie that can be made for a price, and it's an immediate commercial thing. There's this, it doesn't get more.
First of all, you can't say it can be made for a price because there's no script. All right, everybody wants to do it, but everybody wants to get paid.
These people, Robert Englund just got paid $5,000 for the last Pinocchio film. 5,000. That was really good work. Well, 5 days. It was 5 days, but it was audio. He did it in a recording studio. But these guys aren't getting offers like this, Mark.
Yeah, but they do it that because they know they make a ton of money in residuals, SAG residuals.
They'll make a ton of money on this if it is what we all think it is.
I think, but what is the plot of the story? What's the movie about?
It's one dying. It's Knives Out. I mean, and we don't know yet because we don't know.
Do you know who so is the idea we're going to do it and try to figure out who the killer is?
Exactly. It's going to be a mystery trying to figure out which one is responsible. In our dream scenario, and I know this is dreaming and we're going to bleep this out because we have a meeting with set up, but in our dream scenario, dies in the opening scene, like, and we find out at the end he's responsible for everything. Was in the one horror movie, single-handedly revitalized horror was, and they used the poster front and center, and then gets killed off, and coming back to get revenge or whatever. So like in a dream scenario, it would be.
I get what you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Please.
Why angry at these people?
I hear you, but this goes back to what Darren was saying is we need to bring the people in, and
we have to write we can't, this is not a movie you write and then try to cast it. You have to write it for the people. You have to write it.
I get it.
So because of that, it is going to be based on who they are. So I'll give you an example. Kane Hodder is a scary, intimidating looking dude, but then you meet with him and he's meek and he's got arthritis and he's got bad hips, and you realize that he's known for being this insane, iconic bad guy, but that's not him at all. And I think that what we want to do is once we say, these are the 6 people that we're using, these are our main 6, that the script is written to them, for them, about them. We also want to populate it full of insane cameos from Rob Zombie to Eli Roth, because when you're at these conventions, it's not just actors.
You want to get you want to get as many people from this world as possible in one movie.
We believe that this is a no-brainer for any one of these studios.
You know, it's a great scene. I'm so sorry. I know you were just pitching something important, but the elevator door opening and Linda Blair walks in and then hold the door. The door starts going, hold the door. And basically by the end of this little moment, you've got like 18 people, all huge people stuffed into this elevator. You shoot it off in a half a day and the elevator explodes or falls down and opens up and you're just like, dead bodies everywhere.
But going to one of these conventions revitalized me into what the horror community trend is. And the trend is they idolize franchise horror. They idolize these people that most people won't give 2 shits about if I try to cast them in a normal movie. The idea is called, we just came up with this, which we're still playing around, but imagine, and I'm just going to show you have to use your imagination because we couldn't get this done in time. But this Killer Khan, and then with a slice with an I and a slice with an S icons. And so like a knife has come through and made it killer icons. These are the icons of horror. And the premise is the most vicious, violent deaths befalling the most iconic people in horror, using the Easter eggs and in-jokes that only they can give us in a Knives Out like thing, which is the most popular.
The audience try to figure out who the killer is.
Who does? I think it's a great idea, but I think you guys got to come up with what exactly the story is. And are they working against each other or are they working together? Do they all think he could be the killer, she could be the killer, so everybody's kind of standoffish against each other?
Yeah.
Or is it the killer somebody completely separate?
Yeah.
That now these guys all have to band together because
well, I love
they
that.
killed one of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love that idea. And like, you could even have some fun with like Halloween, for instance, if you've got Kane Hodder or Halloween, if you've got Nick Castle, who was the Shape was in Halloween, and you've got Danielle Harris there, who is the little girl who he was chasing the other time. They have a bond because they were in the movies together and all that. They're like, Tobin and Shawnee, they could be protective of each other. And then one of them stabs the other one in the back and you're like, what the,
Or I'm saying is it just somebody came to rob the con?
We like it.
And they all now have to band together because nobody's getting paid.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, everybody's like, where's our 90 grand? Where's our 10 grand? Darren's open.
Dude, this
You know what
is
I'm saying?
exactly, yeah.
That was the original pitch. The original pitch was that Sons of Anarchy had a con. This is a true story. They had a con. They didn't have enough money to do the guarantees of the con, and the Sons of Anarchy guys got real fucking pissed real fucking quick. And one of the things we do like about this mansion idea is we still use the con as the backdrop. The con is happening. The con is there. The mansion gives us a more easily contained way to shoot it without the hundreds of extras needed. The con would still be used either to book in the movie, to have the massive cameos like the elevator scene. All cons take place in a hotel. Most of them take place in a hotel. But what I think this one becomes harder is we've now met with them all. We've met with the icons. We now need to construct it around who we can get the most out of, whether that be, example, Saw. We could probably get, I mean, we have Tobin and Shawnee. We're connected with you. I think we can get away more on Saw than we could in other franchises. So let's say Saw is one of them. Then do we go to New Line? Do we go talk about Freddy Krueger? We say we have Robert Englund. We want to be able to use the glove. What's the license fee for the glove? I talked to Tanya about it, about what I can ask for. If it's a spoof or satire, you have a little bit more free reign. If it is something that is not a spoof or satire, you have to license elements. So, you know, that's the question.
They did Saw as a spoof, as a play, and nobody could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Else it in Scary Movie.
Mhm.
You know, with Shaq and Dr. Phil or whatever. So it
Do you think going into a company like a Lionsgate or a Paramount or a New Line that has all of the franchises and taking whoever we determine has the most franchises we want and going to them to try to involve them to get some of this stuff out of it? Because that's how we're going to write the script. The script's going to be written around who we have. You can't write this in a bubble.
I think you write it assuming you get the actors, and then if you can't, you got to pivot to somebody else, either from that movie or you create the same thing with a different movie. Yeah, but I think I don't know, Lionsgate has Saw, I don't know what other.
They have Strangers, they have Saw, they have...
Yeah.
See, that's I don't think the answer is to just go to one studio.
No, I don't think
that's
so either.
way.
You make the movie,
Yeah.
and you just gotta say, we're making this movie. And because if you do it at Lionsgate, then Paramount's not going to give you it, or they're not going to give you this person. Universal won't give you this because it's a Lionsgate movie.
Yeah.
There's 100 different ways of putting this together. It could just be one person writing you a check. It could be a studio. You could go to Lionsgate and say, we need Saw, we want this, we'll give you the domestic rights. And then you go to whoever is the next bigger and say, whether it's Universal or Paramount, whoever, great, you guys can have international, and we need $3 million from each one of you.
We think that the idea is so...
I mean, it's a great idea, but I don't think you have the story worked out.
The story that we will have a pitchable story by January 6th when we return back from this thing.
I think it's either one of two. It's either they team up against another killer. Somebody robbed the con in New Hampshire. Now, dude, sorry, nobody's getting paid.
Right.
You all got your advances, and somebody's like, I'm at $38,000 in overages, or like, sorry.
Yeah.
There's no money.
Yeah.
And now these guys got to team up together.
Yeah.
I mean, the Expendables teamed up together.
Yeah.
Against,
I think on this, there's that John Cusack movie that takes place in a motel. What's it called? We talked
Room 265 or something.
No, that's...
Legends of the Galaxy. They didn't.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But what I'm saying is on that movie and on Knives Out and on, again, I say 10 Little Indians in the way it's a trope. There's a very popular horror franchise or a movie that was made, which you should watch. It really is really well done. And it's called Cabin in the Woods. And it is, when you watch it, the premise is the trailer, everything. I know what this movie is. I've seen it. A bunch of good looking kids go in the woods. They have sex. They do drugs. They get killed by hillbillies. I've seen it. And what they do is they take every single trope in that genre of movie and they flip it. The minute you think you know what they're going to do, they do something else. I think that is what this movie is with the trope of 10 Little Indians, where these people are Whether it is they start in the con and they end in the con, but in every con you go to, when you sign on, you have to go to the parties because that's what they're paying for. If you're a VIP, if I bought the VIP package, part of the VIP package is you get front of the line at signatures and you get to go to the parties with them. So all of the celebrities have to go to the party. So if I arrive, if I'm Danielle Harris and I know, or Shawnee Smith, I'm going to do the con and I have to go to this fucking party and a car's picking me up and they take me out to the middle of nowhere and I'm trapped in there now with these other iconic killers and these doors aren't fucking locking until one person's standing. You take that very familiar trope of only one can survive, people are dying, and you flip it and you use the genre franchise of each one of these characters and make in things within that franchise. I think that is a commercial hit. Now, the nuance of the story, Josh can do that in the next week of what that thing is. But we do believe...
The other thing that we should try to also add into this as a whole is creating some kind of iconic killer, because that's what's going to create your future films.
Is it like... Are you saying there's one survivor out of all these people? Like
that is a trope.
You know, kind of like whatever that TV show is where somebody gets eliminated. Each is the survivor.
It's like traitors. Like yes, but it doesn't. That could be what they're told. Meaning that if I love the idea of unexpected, shocking deaths. You have Robert Englund and you have all these people, but he's the grandfather. Robert Englund's the grandfather. He stands up. All right, everyone, I've been in this. He's shot and killed, and they're like, oh, fuck, they just killed Robert Englund, like immediately. Now there's 9 people left and you're like, what the fuck? Boom, someone else dies and they take off running. Now alliances has to form. That's where you get the two people. Yeah, that's where Tobin Bell and Shawnee pull, fuck these people, fuck the Texas Chainsaw Massacre motherfuckers. I got you, a man, whatever. And she'll be like John Kramer for life. Like that's where these like things come on. And then you go over to Hellraiser and you have Pinhead and the girl Kirsty on that, and they team up.
We have Chucky.
Don Mancini. No, that 100%. That's Brad Dourif. Yes, Brad Dourif.
Yeah, Brad Dourif. He's on our list of people to have conversations with.
And I know the creator Don Mancini very well, and Tom Holland, who directed the original one. So,
and you can use his voice.
Doll versus doll. I'm telling you, like
again, I think you got to figure out the story. Because you guys are all over the map a little bit.
We understand that, and we're not disagreeing with you about
it. I think eventually it'll get shape.
Yeah.
Once we have the story, though, what do you think the next step is? Because our number that we are looking at is sub 4. And where does that number come from? What we now see as a list that most distributors look at to say, if it hits over this number, you need this actor. We believe that given this franchise and what we're doing, these actors are suddenly more valuable. So we're coming.
I think if you can make the movie for $4 million, that means you can make it for like 5.5 or 6 with some tax rebates.
Yep.
I think if you can do it at net 4, I think you actually have a really, really good thing. And I would try and go get, like you said, if Tobin's there with a Billy mask or something that just somehow to tie in. Because you want to make it more than just the people that know what Robert Englund looks like.
Yeah.
Like I know the name, I may not recognize him on the street right now because it's been a long time.
What's also kind of fun is if we did buy a couple of those, like if we were to be able to get Freddy's glove and a Billy.
You got to remember, Tobin didn't have a mask on. So Tobin is Tobin.
And he can wear a robe.
But the guy, from one of these other movies, they had a mask. So you kind of want to.
But the one thing you could do, and which would be fun, is you've got a cool thing like the hockey mask.
Yeah. One
One of the ways to get away with the hockey mask, you just put the stripes going the other way.
Yeah.
And he can wear a hockey mask. It's just slightly different from the original.
We also think that, and this all comes full circle and this kind of ends back where it began. When you see the Terrifier audience, I was with the...
I actually went to see the Terrifier, Darren. Okay, I watched the movie.
Well, here's the thing is I was with the lawyer. The lawyer is a kind of icon. It's Larry Zerner, who was the first one. Jason takes the hockey mask off Larry's character, and that's where it came in Friday the 13th 3. Larry's now a lawyer and he represents Terrifier. And we were walking around Universal Studios Orlando and he goes, you know something about Terrifier? No one wanted to make Terrifier 1, not a single person, but everyone wanted to make Terrifier 2. And what he meant by that was Terrifier had nobody in it. They were like, there's no fan base for this. And now it became the biggest craze in horror. It's not mainstream at all, but it has become the biggest craze. Those are our audience, and those people know these people, and those people are gods. These people are gods to the Terrifier audience. So we'll come back.
I mean, I don't know what I forget what the character is called in Terrifier.
Art the Clown.
Art the Clown.
Yeah.
But I know what Lauren Rivera looks like.
Yeah.
And she'll be in our movie.
So you want her, and you want the clown, and you want, you want to try and get that likeness of you want to be able to use the clown mask.
Yeah.
We're
gonna need a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Figure out what we can do, what we can't do. Yeah.
Terrifier is an easy one because Terrifier is done by I forget the name of the company. They kept the rights. They kept the rights on Terrifier. Terrifier is easy. Leprechaun is Lionsgate. So if we went this way, that's easy. Saw the one Nightmare on Elm Street's a new line. Maybe James Wan helps us that way. I don't know. But we don't need the Freddy mask. We need the Freddy iconic sweater or the hat or the glove. Friday the 13th. You're right on that. They've always changed who the killer is, and the masks have changed. It was a bag, and then it became this kind of mask. I think we can get away with that. So what else is left? There's the Chucky doll, if we went that way, and Pinhead. And Pinhead, I think, is an easily gettable one because I think Pinhead's Lionsgate. I think Pinhead is in the Lionsgate. It's in the Lionsgate library. So in that case, 4 of the properties are Lionsgate properties. That means you're.
So I think you guys got to work out a really, really good pitch.
Yeah.
Because it's not flushed out yet.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And I wouldn't worry about budget or any of that yet.
Right.
Let's come up with a good story, and then I can go to Lionsgate and ask for the rights to these things.
Okay.
And in exchange, you give them like a right of first refusal or something.
Love it.
Who did?
Or if they want to make the movie, that's something else.
Yeah.
Who does Scary Movie? Who is that?
That was Miramax.
Who's doing the new one?
Miramax was sold to Disney, I believe. Correct.
So like when they're using the Scream mask for Scary Movie, it's a parody. It's like it's the face goes in the opposite direction or something.
Yeah. No, not even. If it's a parody, you can get away with stuff.
Oh, I see.
This is not a 4-quadrant movie. This isn't a 3. This is a 1-quad. This is a Terrifier audience love letter to horror in the most cool, batshit crazy way that we think, given the cast that we have, once we nail the story, we already have the attachments to make this thing, and our relationships collectively between the horror filmmakers, the Elis, the Rob Zombies, and the cast of who we've already talked to. It's a no-brainer.
There can be jealousy amongst the people, like something like Tobin Mill, really? He killed that many people? Like, fuck, the man can barely walk.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately you want them coming together and working together against.
Yeah, that was Robert's idea also. Robert said the exact same thing, and I agree with it. You can play with it early on with the jealousies and all that, and then they find a way to fight the evil.
Mark, thank you for listening to this idea. And
No, I think you guys have a great idea.
Okay.
Now I want
to hear an idea
with a great story.
We have a great idea and a half because we have we're bringing a lot to the table.
You just need. I just got to figure out what your plot is. I know you can deliver a script.
Yeah.
I know you know how to direct, but you got to figure out what is it, and it may not be impossible to do it at a con. If you can get people come in, get a bunch of one day of crowds, and then it goes into the back rooms and the hallways and
the green room, the bathrooms, yeah. You're right.
But like you said, it could be.
Oh, the last lesson we can talk about is trying to get the big cameo. The big one is that go back to a original icon of horror that left horror. So Johnny Depp started in horror in Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Kevin Bacon, Friday the 13th. You go to one of these titans that started in horror, and Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun. So that's the other thing is I think that I would never get one of them on a normal movie, but for this, you could.
But I think I'm just thinking out loud. You could have that opening night party that everybody has to go to, and everybody's there. And then you get to the con Saturday morning.
Right.
And 2 people don't show up.
Right.
See the seat empty, and you're like, what the fuck? What happened to them?
Yeah.
Now everybody else is trying to figure out. And it could be the person who owned the house, could be anything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mark, thank you very much.
We love you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, bud. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you for coming over.
Yeah.
So I got nervous halfway through pitching Mark. I realized that we had made a giant mistake going there that early, but I was so excited. Because here's the thing is, Mark to me is the path of least resistance. He knows both of us. He knows our insanity. He knows our personality. And I know that Mark is real. So many times you meet with producers or financiers and they tell you they've got money and you know they don't. And it takes forever. With Mark, he's no bullshit. You know where you stand. There's no like, he'll tell you if he fucking hates it.
Yes. And it was after the cameras, we turned off the cameras, and you remember what he said after we turned.
Why don't you say, so I don't sound like it was pretty.
He said that was the best idea you guys have ever brought me.
He did. And then he walks outside and he pulls his cell phone out. And what he did next? He
canceled Josh and Darren.
No, he pulled out his phone and showed us his new palatial estate at an unknown location. And he said, guys, I see our first script meeting is going to be here at my new house.
I'm in.
So he was already talking about it in the tense of we are doing this.
Yeah.
But we did leave there with some marching orders, is that we didn't have an idea. And I think what's very exciting is from when we were recording this, there is an idea now.
Yes.
We went in there with a concept. And I think one thing that you should understand about when you're pitching is you can't just go in and sell the gimmick. And that's what I was trying to do. I walked in there to sell the gimmick. And the gimmick was, I want to make horror Expendables. That's great. But
and it worked. It worked. We baited the hook.
We did. But we have to reel them in. And so how do we reel them in? And so after that meeting, Josh and I rolled up our sleeves and we had numerous Zoom calls. We talked about what is this story? And taking what we had learned from Robert on and off the podcast, as well as some ideas that you and I have been speaking about, we had to really flesh out what the story is. What is the first act? What is the inciting incident? What's the twist? What's the midpoint?
And which actors are we slotting into positions? And
unlike
what are their stories? Their mini arcs inside the main body of the film.
One of the things that we talked about quite a lot, we said it to Mark as well, is unlike a lot of traditional screenplays where you write it and then you try to cast it, we're doing this a different way. We are going to cast it, then write it, because we have to know who we're writing to.
100%.
You don't want to write a Robert Englund character and all these nightmare references and then not get Robert Englund, because it's not as simple as just slugging in people. We want to write to the strengths. We want to write to who they are. I really want Warwick Davis. I did not get the Leprechaun franchise. Fuck you, Lionsgate. For 14 fucking years, I have been trying and petitioning with that. And no fucking phone calls about the Leprechaun. So if I'm not getting...
There's a Lionsgate executive right now that's watching the thing. She was writing the email to you. Or your agent,
Darren, we want
about...
exactly. You know, whoever ran like 7 years ago, the Lionsgate social media... I hope I'm not getting someone in trouble. Sent me a message, a private message. It was from Lionsgate, and it says, FYI, there's a contingent of us here fighting for you for this. It still hasn't happened. But if I don't get Warwick Davis and Leprechaun, you better fucking believe I'm getting him from Killer Icons.
Hell yeah, dude. He's in.
That's one person I didn't even think about before, is Warwick Davis. I mean, how many Leprechaun movies are there?
Yeah. He's incredible.
I need Warwick Davis.
All right.
So
you need to reach out to
me. What I'm saying is, you don't write a role for Warwick Davis and then be like, oh, we can't get him, but hey, we got so-and-so over here. He's very specific of what his role is going to be in this movie. So as we continue on in the upcoming weeks, you're going to hear the pitch get better and better and better until you hear us go back into Mark Burg again with a much different pitch.
And hopefully sell it. And then off to the races. But you're the real director now, because you're going to be off making a movie and I'll be sitting there. You'll be calling me going like, where the fuck are you?
I know.
It's all going to be okay, dude.
Oh, we can just switch roles. I'll write it and you can direct it.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll have to figure it out.
Everyone, if
next week
we'll be back. Please like, follow, subscribe, and comment below. I can't stress to you how important that is, that there are comments on here and there are likes on here. So please do that. And hopefully we see you at the next office hours.
Love it.
All right, everyone.